Hey guys, welcome in. It's the Findable Podcast. I'm Sean Salisbury along with my guy Nick Bender. He is the founder and CEO of Grunkdolfer. Sweet hat, by the way, there, dog. Good to have you on, man. Yeah, the Findable Podcast. And thanks to all you guys. Our first one last week, we got great feedback and traction from it. And here we are. It's just the beginning. Now, Nick, this is going to sound weird because my OCD and my nut job part of the start of the season with the Sony Open this week. I'm sitting here just before I got on watching the Corn Ferry Tour out in the Bahamas. Everybody talks about what's the best opening day in sports. Now, there's not really opening. I guess Thursday at the Sony would normally be at Kapalua because the drought. They pushed that back, and now they're at the Sony with a full field. But while opening day baseball is my favorite, college and NFL because you have the 0 day and then the first 0 week and then first week. Do you get as excited about this as you would your opening football day? The fact that you're starting on Thursday, well, really starting this past weekend, but from LPGA to DP World Tour, but now the PGA Tour, that they start this week. Does it feel different to you, or are you still football and all that other mode that really the opening tournament's just kind of leading you to the other stuff because it still feels casual in Hawaii?
Yeah, I think coming off of a crazy football weekend like we just had, it's tough to get excited about golf in January. I'll tell you what, this is going to throw you for a loop, but my favorite opening anything in sports is actually NASCAR because they start with their Super Bowl, the Daytona 500 first, but that's maybe a conversation for another day. Am I excited about the Sony Open? Not really. It's kind of, it's kind of a bummer that they couldn't keep it in Kapalua. Although if you see the course conditions, it's pretty bad. Where I start to get excited, firstly, is the Amex Open, which is in 2 weeks because I go to it. But when I really feel that golf season kicks off is the Waste Management. To me, that's the People's Open. It's where I think people start to really get ramped up. It's right after Super Bowl or at the same week of Super Bowl.
A lot of times it's the same weekend. It's usually the same. The Sunday is the same Sunday as the Super Bowl.
Right. That's what I think. So that's where, to me, that's really where the golf season kicks off. It's a little bonus month this month, I think.
Yeah. See, for me, I'm with you. The excitement of the farmers at Torrey and the Amex out in Palm Desert, I get it. But for me, it's not necessarily the tournament. It's just that we got full-time golf and guys like J.J. Spahn will be playing. Matsuyama, who had a great Kapalua event last year. I mean, they're driving the ball 400 plus yards. It's a blast to watch. Although it's not Kapalua, it's at Wailea Country Club at the Sony Open. But I still get excited because what it signifies to me is that we got, well, until this time next year, we're playing golf every single weekend.
You're less than 90 days away from the Masters. I mean,
that's exactly right.
Right. So that's what's exciting.
Yeah, and I am fired up for it because I know when I wake up on Thursdays that I get to watch golf again. Aside from it, and I know it's football playoff time, but I just beat to a little bit of a different drum. I love the opening of golf because of all, and then the PGA show is right around the corner here in a couple weeks in Orlando, and that's just the new kickoff for apparel, as you well know about all that. It's Nick and Sean here on the Findable Podcast. Great to have you along. So let's get right into this. Brooks Koepka, no more live. It's going to cost him some money. It's going to cost him some more money, but it's not really given to charity. He's got to delay it. And we got his quote up here in the screenshot. He's officially back on the PGA Tour. And we do move the goalposts for stars. Make no mistake about it. 5-time major winner. We know people that didn't qualify for the LIV Tour that used to be on the PGA Tour that can't get back in. My guy, Pat Perez, still waiting to get on the senior tour. But hard for me to read that because I don't have close, but there basically is telling Brooks Koepka how grateful he is to be back. You can read it. I don't need to bore you with it. Back on tour and when he's going to start. He's excited for the Phoenix Open and the Farmers Insurance, which will be, man, that hole, as you mentioned, at the Waste Management, my man, when they're standing there in 16 and he's got an iron in his hand and they're going to go nuts having Koepka back. Great player. They did move the goalposts. First off, before we get into what he's got to do or what he's had to do to get back, they call this it's the returning member program that they created. And just give you a few ideas. One is returning member program. It's for major winners who've been away for at least 2 years. He'll have to face financial penalties, as would anybody else, including ineligibility for the Players Equity Program for 5 years. And he's agreed to make a $5 million charitable contribution for his reinstatement. All right, that being said, should we be moving the goalposts for guys that left and went and got $100 million plus on somewhere else and benefited from it? Rory McIlroy's came out and supported it after he was really, really adamant against the Live Tour and has been, and gets his digs in whenever he can. Was this too easy for Brooks to get back, as much as we all love great golfers back and he's one of the best we have?
Absolutely not. You got to have stars in the PGA, and he's in the top 10 in terms of stars. I don't know if he's in the top 10 of playing shape right now, but he might be a top 5 name draw in a tournament, just as far as who's going to turn on TV. He's a bro. He's one of us. He's not the Bryson DeChambeau's that geeks out. He's kind of just a badass golfer, and people resonate with that. And of course you need him in. A little $5 million tax write-off charitable donation when you made $100 million for a couple years worth of work at the Live Golf. Absolutely. You take it. And PGA, good on them for making it easy for a major winner. That's an easy one to say, look, if you've won a major here, you're welcome back in anytime. And that, I think, is good for the game and good on the PGA.
Should we make this this new rule that they've allowed, this rule for Brooks Koepka? Should we take off the major winner part of it and let anybody who wants to come back pay a fine, pay the money, donate money to charity, and go through all that they have to go through to get back? Or should it just be reserved for major winners? I mean, the PGA Tour is made up of more non-major winners than major winners, or just because it's star power. And I'll tell you my opinion on this. First off, I love star power in it. I don't have a problem. I think if we go all the way back, I personally don't give a fuzzy rat's ass what tour you play in. Now, I could get into a good heated debate with Brandel Chambly. I think you should be able to cross over. If you want to play one, you play in the DP World Tour. Why not play in the PGA Tour? You missed that tournament, you play in this one, you're going to go play in that one. And if you don't have your card, go to qualifying like you would the Monday qualifying like they've had in the past. I never had a problem with it. That being said, I don't mind them moving the goalposts, because one thing people need to understand in all sports, heck, if you're LeBron James, you get a special patch to tell us that you've played 23 years. The stars get treated different. Coaches will tell you that. Now, rules sometimes, and inner rules within the organization, showing up late to meetings and that, most of the time everybody's treated the same. But stars, because they're the ones who get coaches renewed and contracts renewed and extended and help you win championships. But the majority of the tour is made up of guys that aren't major winners that are really good golfers. That being said, moving the goalposts for stars, you just got to get used to it, whether we like it or not. And I'm glad Koepka's back. He's a grinder. I think he lost competitive edge at Live, and I think he'll get it back quickly. Because think about how many majors, those 5, he won in a hurry. The guy's a great player. I don't have a problem with it. And for those on the tour that do, get over it, because more people will come. Purses grow with better players. Moving the goalposts, yet there will be some deep down who won't say it because they're afraid of the backlash, that have a problem with this. It's still steep. $5 million, a lot of money, regardless of how much he made. I think Brooks Koepka will be a factor in 2026, because I think the fact that he's coming back, he doesn't want to come back and miss cuts. He wants to come back and prove that moving the goalposts for him, and now with Cam Smith, Bryson DeChambeau, John Rahm, all 3 who are major winners that could do the same thing, come right back in. This is open to floodgate if you want to, and a floodgate is 4 stars. Will Cam Smith and Rahm and DeChambeau consider this, regardless of their status and contract on the Live Tour? Will they give up one to come to the other? I think this is a good move by the PGA Tour, and it tells you now that the PGA Tour is winning, not Live Golf. Even though Live Golf's paying out money, it's shifted even more so to the PGA Tour side. I fully believe that, getting a star back like Koepka.
Well, I think it's all eyes on the PGA Tour right now in terms of how they handled this. I don't even think it's necessarily a moving of the goalposts. It's really the first big star to leave Live Golf by choice, that just not because of a qualification or anything.
And then they let him in. Yes.
Right. And I think in terms of the PGA, I think the major winner thing is a good place to start. But I think you're going to have to look as like the Matt Wolfs and these guys, contracts come up and maybe they want back in. I think you're going to have to look at lowering that bar just for the sake of eyeballs, which is what the PGA needs. Getting
Matt
that
Wolff, is he moving any needle in the PGA Tour? I mean, Matt's a good player, but we talked about it.
Maybe
people
not.
aren't showing up. People aren't showing up at tournament to watch Matt
Maybe
Wolff
not,
play
but I
right
think
now.
if you're the PGA, it shows good faith that you don't just want the big. You don't want the LeBron James who you want to, the Brooks Koepkas.
Do they care though?
You
Look
want
what
the guys
doing.
that have a chance to become them.
Yeah,
right?
but think about this. Look what they've done, Nick. Nick Bender, Grunkdolfer founder, and my partner here on the Findable. Nick, think what they've done though. And listen, like we just said, the tour is made up of non-major winners for the most part. It's like in any sport. The middle class or the upper middle class player may not win a Super Bowl, but those are the guys that shape your roster. Superstars don't shape your roster, but they do get people in the stands and they do get people talking, hence the rules for quarterbacks in the league. And we do move goalposts or change stuff for stars. But for me, when we say they're not making it easier. While we're bringing guys back in, and the Matt Wolffs, if guys like him if they ever want to come back, or the guy who may win once in a while on the team part of Live Tour, or may win a game, whether it's Taylor, it doesn't matter who it is. It does not matter that are non-stars, that aren't Rahm, that aren't Cam Smith, that aren't Bryson DeChambeau. But is the PGA Tour really want to make it easier for them to get in? They don't. I mean, we continue to limit 150 to 125. We're making it more difficult for that young guy who's still trying to find his way and maybe either a late bloomer or not dominant to get into this thing. So what's more important, letting that guy get in, the Michael Brennans who earned it on tour, or just keep inviting people back? But the truth is, the more you invite back and take away the middle class, won't that completely disintegrate the Live Golf Tour if they allow them back this simple? Won't non-stars want to come back and get that reputation, or should I say that feeling back? Or the guys that are making guaranteed money say, screw that. I don't know if I have much of a chance to win on the tour. I can just make this money and go out in the sun. When does Dustin Johnson come back? He's the captain of his team. When does he come back?
I don't think Dustin Johnson comes back. And I don't think a lot of these guys are going to come back, unfortunately. Look, if the PGA wanted if they wanted to get as many people back as possible right now, all they would have to do is remove all barriers.
Right.
Let them play and live. There's only 8 tournaments a year. Let them play and live. And
who cares, right?
I would bet you that if you just said, look, if you're qualified and you can make these tournaments, come play in them. I bet you those guys lose interest in the live format. It's not that fun to watch. I'm just going to be honest. Nobody wants to watch a shotgun start tournament that's 2 days long or whatever the hell it is, 3 days now. But you have to have the ability to bring these guys back into the fold. Maybe a slap on the wrist like Koepka got. But look, what happened with Live Golf 5 years ago or wherever it was unprecedented. Nobody knew what was going to happen. Yeah, Dustin Johnson jumped ship first. Guys like Phil Mickelson were early adapters. But then you got a guy like Rahm who's looking at how the PGA treated their players after this. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to go take that money. You got to let guys like that back in. Rahm is a top 5 player in the world. DeChambeau's a top 5 player in the world. These guys need to be competing on the PGA Tour, and putting any barrier to entry in front of them is only hurting the PGA as a brand.
Now, remember this year, we will have 72 holes in Live Golf. They're extending it to make it more look like, so they actually have to go through that extra day of grind that they should. The point being is, I wonder this, if the PGA Tour said free for all, it's college football, NIL, transfer portal. You come and go as you now. Live may strip you of your money, saying, no, we're not sharing that. We gave you money to be exclusive with us. That may be their problem, which was the PGA Tour's issue going when they left here. All that guaranteed money, we're never letting them back. And outspoken people like Rory McIlroy who have welcomed them back now and said they've served their time, basically. But if they did open the floodgates and you could come back, but you had to surrender part of that money you got guaranteed going, the guys like Taylor Gooch, or just guys that are good players but not stars, fair enough, which is most of the guys on Live Tour, not name the ones you just named. Do they come back? Would they come back without barriers? Do you really believe guys like the guys that aren't winning on Live, but once in a while, if they're fortunate, that struggled to win on this tour, they got guaranteed money, if Liv said, Give us back they prorated money for how long you've been there. Said, have at it. The PGA Tour said, there is no barriers. Come on back and play. Got qualifying. And if you have a certain amount of the money list, which we'll get to, or if you've won a major, or if you haven't won a major, come on back. How many of those guys have the balls to leave to go back and try to earn money and give up guaranteed money? How many of them? Dustin Johnson, I don't know if he ever will, but he can win on the tour. Koepka's proven it. Rahm's proven it. Cam Smith's proven it. How many of those guys that aren't top line guys would have the balls to come back and play on the PGA Tour and surrender some of their guaranteed money right now?
Probably less than half.
Yeah, agreed. If they even less than that, I think.
I don't know how many of them got guaranteed money. I think there was also the lure of the higher prize pools, which the PGA has bridged the gap since then. But I don't know that I don't actually think DJ would come back. I think DJ's fat and happy.
The casual kicked in. He's enjoying this.
Yeah.
Wearing shorts, kicking back, it's still good enough to compete every week because he's talented, but don't forget have to deal with that.
My philosophy is that the PGA should adopt as much of the good things that Liv brought and then suffocate them.
Music,
they could do that if they wanted to.
Stuff. Yeah.
No amount of money could compete with the PGA. The only thing the PGA could do is, look at the way Moynihan handled it. It was a nightmare, right? It cost him his job. If they would just relax a little bit, film a little bit more similarly to how Live Golf is filmed on the Sunday of a tournament, Live Golf would not survive another 2 years, in my opinion.
I always wonder, and I think we may be headed there anyway.
I know, you're right.
The T drive. Nick. You're on. That's Nick Bender. He is the founder and CEO of Grunkdolfer, my partner here on the Findable Podcast every single Monday, and it'll get to 2 days a week soon, very soon, but every single Monday at 4:00 Central Time. Nick, I'm sitting here thinking about this PGA Tour and about the players, and I understand the guaranteed money and coming back and the path to get back if you could come back. I just wonder how much the majority of the guys on tour would want back the non-stars. And the guy who just, if you did Dan Brown, who just got his tour card because one of the former PGA Tour guys who qualified left to go to Live Golf. And so he gets his card playing. I think he's playing at the Sony Open. So he was on the outside looking in, got it. How many of the PGA Tour players do we think are still bitter? I think there's more than we think, because in truth, Brooks Koepka wins. The whammy for him. He gets to go get big money, gets to go have some fun playing in shorts and doing all that. Come on back, maybe lost its luster, and pay a fine to get back in, which, hell, I wouldn't be shocked if he's got help from some of his sponsors because they want him on tour because it's more visible for him with TV rights, and come back in and do it. On the other side, you mentioned the stuff of music and of having fun and taking some of the stuff Live Tour players use. You know what I'm saying? Play short. How many of the guys, like a Tiger Woods and like the Rory McIlroys or Xander Schauffele's, how many of those guys, even though they play practice rounds in shorts, but how many of those guys still got old school mentality, even though they're young? How many of those guys would want, in your opinion, the chaos of a Live Tour tournament? I've been at them, played in a Pro-Am in one here in Houston. They're a blast. But how many guys lose focus because of the distraction? How many? They can't even handle some of them. You're clicking a damn phone 3 fairways a fucking way. So how many of them want that truthfully on the PGA Tour? And would sponsors and people who watch golf feel like, well, we've stooped to the wrong level, we've taken class out of it? Does that come into play with any of these guys other than,
all I could say is it doesn't fucking matter. Those guys' opinions don't mean anything. Whose opinions matter? The McIlroys. That's why he's been in the news so
Scheffler,
much. Woods,
McIlroy.
Yeah, and maybe even guys that are less relevant, but their opinions matter, like a Ricky Fowler, who I love. These other guys, it doesn't matter. They're bench players. They're frankly nobodies in the business of the PGA. Yes, there are
needle
guys
movers. The needle movers
they're
are
not
the ones
needle
we
movers,
should be
exactly.
worried about.
There's guys that get bumped in and out of the contenders and the eligibility all the time. If you're going to bump the number 125 guy to bring in a Brooks Koepka or a Cam Smith or a John Rahm back, sorry, be better.
Rom's competitive. Yeah, Rom's competitive as hell. By the way, Cam Smith was my partner at the Live Pro-Am. What a great friggin' dude. I'd love to see him back. And short game's stupid good, but you know how competitive Rom is. Koepka's got that same. I honestly, and I know this is going to sound mean to Dustin Johnson. I don't mean it this way. Even if he takes it mean or somebody else, oh well. But to me, there's a cut your heart out and feed it to you mentality that a guy like Koepka, DeChambeau, and Rom have that maybe a guy like Dustin doesn't. I think Koepka will win. I think he'll be in contention at a major. But I also wonder the temptation, even though with you two, all the money DeChambeau and Rom are making there, Rom continues to win the player of the year and the money list and all that and Live. But John, there's a part of me that feels like they feel they're getting cheated by not being seen every week the way they want to. And I'm talking about at the Phoenix Open. I'm talking about at the Waste Management. I'm talking about at the Farmers, non-majors, because their smallest tournament more than likely is going to get more. The Farmers or the American Express in Palm Desert will have more eyes and sponsors and people on it than a big event, whatever the big event is for Live. I get why they went to Live. I get why they took the guaranteed money. Who the hell wouldn't? But I just wonder how much. I don't think you're going to get pushback from the stars. I heard Ludwig Oberg on Golf Channel today talking about we need Brooke Koepka. Like we want to play against the best in the world. But it's that 98th player, that 100th player that I wonder if they're thinking, well, damn, that was too easy. But you're right. The opinion of us mere minions probably doesn't matter compared to the hierarchy, because isn't the hierarchy making decisions that 3% of the players are making about 97% of the decisions on tour? They really are. And it's not the commissioner that's making them. It's the
like
push from the big stars.
It's like that in every sport. You know, you can't take some third string O lineman's opinion if it's the opposite of Aaron Rodgers, right?
Right.
You just don't. They are different. And a 99, 98 guy is different than a guy like Justin Thomas or someone else who's going to be in contention week in and week out. And the guy who's going to be in contention week in and week out is more confident in his own ability to really not give a shit about who's coming in and who's not, who what's fair and what's not fair. At the end of the day, the more eyeballs on the sport, the more money in the purses. And the guys that are actually in contention for that money in the purse, they will not care if you let all these guys back in.
And those that could push their bitterness, I mean, look at, like we said, McIlroy, it's a 180-degree difference from when he started with this to where he is now, understanding the importance of getting these guys back. It's only a matter of time before that Live, all the players are working their way back. The shelf life, like you said, what are we looking at? 2-3 years max, unless there's more of an exodus of the great players like Mickelson and those guys, the younger ones who leave and go. But Scheffler's not leaving. Hell, these guys have had plenty of offers to leave. They're not leaving. They're making money and enjoying it, and they almost feel like it's not the minor leagues. I think some people feel, no disrespect to DeChambeau, any of these guys, I don't feel this way because there's a lot of great players out there. And if you're standing next to him, it's like, damn, this guy should be winning more, yet it's hard to win on the tour. I just think that they feel like they're playing minor league baseball or minor leagues AAA every week. I feel just with the aura, and yet it's a blast to be at those tournaments.
This is what Live Golf should be, in my opinion. You take the stars out, they will eventually fizzle back into the PGA. But the Live Golf, there's a world where the Live Golf people are the fun, up-and-coming guys to watch that can't make it on the DP, can't make it on the PGA, but they have a shooter's chance any given week on.
You want it to be a Corn Ferry Tour type of thing for Live, basically, a little elevated,
make it more fun,
kind of between.
The right. PGA, the Corn Ferry is just a PGA reincarnated with less talent, right? I want the fun, energetic guys like I'm trying to think like a John Daly. Imagine John Daly's kid, right? He's fresh out of college and he maybe doesn't have the juice.
Tyrrell Hatton too. Tyrrell Hatton's another guy, right?
There's a number of guys that I would be excited coming out of college to get onto a tour to play regularly, and they're not going to qualify for the PGA or Corn Ferry. There is a world where that could be what Live Golf becomes. But
where a guy wins a tournament on the Live Golf Tour, finishes in the top 5 money list, he automatically can play on the tour the next year.
That's where the PGA needs to bring them under their wing and say, look, you're not us. You're never going to be us. I hope you enjoyed spending $10 billion to build this thing. You're now a feeder tour for us. You can cultivate talent and we will pluck the ones we want. Congratulations. And there's a world where that's a viable business too. If you're Live Golf,
well, eventually you're going to have to either, if you can't beat him, you're going to have to join him one way or the other. Cause eventually it's not just the money, it's the competitive nature that these guys all want to play. Brooks Koepka over under 2.5 wins this year on the tour.
Oh, under. I think he'll be in contention in the majors. And maybe get 1 win.
Maybe at a John Deere Classic type. You're not even talking about on a major, not a major win.
I mean, how electric would it be if he just comes back and dominates the Waste Management?
Yeah, what if he comes back on tour and goes Michael Brennan, even though Brennan didn't have a tour car, comes back, wins the first event back. I think it would make for great theater for Brooks Koepka. I actually think he's going to win more than once on the tour this year. I would take the under at 2.5. I would take the over at 1 on 1. I do. And I think you're going to see another fire. Plus, as I said, there's pride. He doesn't want to walk off and be looked at as, oh, Brooks lost his edge after winning 5 and going getting guaranteed money. Interesting. It's Nick Bender. I'm Sean Salisbury here on the Findable Podcast. Great to have you along. I don't want to switch to a quick topic. Right or wrong, Vijay Singh at 62 will be playing in the Sony. He did last year. He is going to use his 2026 season for a one-time career money list exemption. Now, you get the status on the tour, but you don't get to play in certain events like, the designated events unless he qualifies. There's certain tournaments he can't play in. But with this, a problem with a 62-year-old playing an event and using up a spot somebody else may have? Or is this just fact, get over it, kiss my ass? Vijay Singh has been one of the top money winners on tour and has been a consistent player for years. He earned it. It's the rule. And if he wants to go play and spend 10, 12, 15 tournaments this year playing on the PGA Tour instead of his senior Champions Tour friends, let him. You got an issue with this?
Yes. This is exactly the kind of thing that's a problem in the PGA. Nobody wants to see this guy play. I'd rather see them exempt a member of Good or Grant Horvat or somebody in that space to come play and take somebody's spot. At least they would be entertaining. Nobody is looking to watch a 62-year-old golfer hack the ball around the golf course, even if he could still play at a high level. I don't care. Go play on the Champions Tour. That's where you belong.
Matt Kuchar is under 50, and Kuchar denied this. He's going to go and qualify and do. Matt Kuchar, he's also one of the top earners in top 50 money list. I think what it is you get a one-time exemption for the year. So let me ask you this, and we're going to get to Grant Horvat later. And we're both fans of his and both fans of YouTube golf and what they're doing and bringing interest to the game that's not stuffy and too buttoned up. Although there's still some class to it, and I like it with the goods and what Horvat's doing. But if Horvat plays Vijay Singh from the back tees 25 times, so it's not a matter of who's a better player. You're talking about the optics going in. Because will Grant Horvat ever, if they played 25 events against each other this year from the back tees at any course, is Horvat beating Vijay Singh at any point in time? And Horvat's a good player. Does he beat Vijay Singh even though Vijay Singh's 62 and still pretty long and will still grind?
Absolutely.
So you say it's the one 22-point underdog on a college football Saturday that covers or actually wins on the money line and wins it outright. You think he beats Vijay Singh? Why? Because he's younger and more relaxed, or because he looks the part of a bro, or because he's a better player than Vijay Singh, which he's not, or he would be on tour.
I think at least a third of those 25 he's winning. He has the talent. What is he? I mean, +4, +5,
yeah,
somewhere in that range. You can't tell me that day in and day out Vijay can grind like that for a 4-day tournament. I just don't believe it. And I shit on him a little bit back there, but like if he had one exemption to use and he's thinking, I'm getting up there in age, it's use it or lose it, I got to use it. I get that. I just don't think it's good for the game. I get that it's a grandfathered in rule here, but if you took a poll right now, would you rather see this guy or Grant Horvat in the Farmers Open or the Waste Management?
No-brainer.
It's going to be 99-1. Right? It's going to be the one old guy like you that's sitting there watching this going, oh yeah, Vijay Singh. I remember him in the 80s and 90s. And the guys my age and younger, they're not even going to know who this guy is, let alone want him to play a fully exempt year.
Well, if they don't know who Vijay Singh is, then I don't trust their golf insider knowledge. How's that for an old guy's comment? But I would watch Horvat too. That's what I've told. I think youth, but I also put a little more respect on Vijay Singh's career as a top 50 of all time. Now the purse has changed. It's like quarterback play and money. The 28th guy on the 28th best quarterback in the league is making more than Montana did per year. So it just grows with the money in the money list. But the guy has had some good game, and Horvat may beat him. And I would rather see Grant Horvat too. The laughs, the fun. But Vijay Singh could still play, but he belongs on the Champions Tour. So let me ask you this. Would your mindset be different? Not the majors, but would your mindset be different for Phil Mickelson? Because he feels like he is younger, but he feels like he's closer to attitude at Grant Horvat and that, like we're talking about, than he is older, doesn't belong, isn't going to make a cut. What would you do then? Would you be mad if Phil was playing in the Sony Open?
He's a totally different conversation. You're talking about a multi-major champion who was a generational player.
But he's still in his 50s.
Still very relevant to the culture today. Vijay Singh is irrelevant. He's not a multi-major champion. I don't know how many he has off the top of my head, if you do, but that's apples and oranges in my opinion. Absolutely. If Phil, I don't think he needs the exemption at his status, other than his bad breakup that he had with the PGA. But you need a guy like Phil playing still. That's fun to watch.
Yeah. Plus, he was in contention 2 years ago. Yeah.
He was in contention 2 years ago in a Masters.
Right. Oh, listen, and he still is magical and still got game. There's no doubt. Here's what I would. Here's for me to put a cap on this one. I personally don't want to see it either, because he's not going to win at 62. He'll have a hard time making the cut, as I don't believe he made the cut at the Sony last year, meaning Vijay Singh. I do believe he deserves this because he earned it, because the rules say so. But I don't want to see it. I want to see him on the Champions Tour play against guys. He still hits it long. Vijay's still going to grind and be a guy, but maybe he thinks he can. But I would rather see Grant Horvat than Vijay Singh. But the truth of the matter is Vijay Singh's earned it. And as has Matt, anybody who's been in the top 50 money all-time career money earnings deserves to do it. Most guys wouldn't have the balls because they'd feel they'd embarrass themselves on it. I guess maybe Vijay's feeding off the fact, they don't think I can, let me go out here. Or maybe he just wants a week-long vacation in Hawaii, which isn't a bad gig.
Maybe. I think it's going to look a lot like that 1 week a year where we see John Daly play the PGA Championship and he's 19 over through 2 days. And don't get me wrong, I'm still watching every swing.
Larry Mize at the Masters, right? That's what you're talking about.
But I don't think it's going to be a fun, again, I get it. If it's going to be he has to do it. He's only getting older and he's like, it's now or never. Cool. But it's just nothing I'm excited to watch.
Nick Bender, Sean Salisbury. Nick's the founder of Grunkdolfer and the CEO. We are here with the Findable Podcast every single week, Monday, 4:00 Central. I want to get to Scotty Scheffler in a second and expectations of 2026. But I want to switch over to this YouTube, being the fact we're talking about Grant Horvat. And and I haven't seen this part of it. I've seen a lot. What's he got going on with this series going on? Because I do have some questions I want to ask. And you brought something up to me pre-show that's a pretty interesting question. And so we'll get to that in a second. But there's Grant Horvat. What's this new series you're talking about that he's got going on?
Obviously within his channel, there's a ton, but there's one that it's one that I look forward to I don't know if it's every month or every couple of weeks, it seems, but he has a series with Bob Burger from Bob Does Sports, Robbie Burger, Brilliantly Dumb. They have Breezy Golf. They're massive, where he is a +4 and Bobby's probably a 10 to 12, let's say, basically finds a new way every week that Bobby can compete with him. So they've done where he plays with a kid's set of clubs and he beat him with a kid's set of clubs. He did where Bobby plays his own 4-man scramble, meaning Bobby got 4 shots to every one that Grant had.
Drive, just like a regular tournament 4-man scramble.
Like you were your own 4-man scramble. Jeez. And then the one that just got released today that I'm about halfway through is Bobby plays straight up and Grant can only use his 7-iron for everything, including putting. And this to me is so much more interesting than anything going on the PGA Tour. Like, I'm genuinely curious what they're going to come up with every week to make it competitive, and if he's going to win or not. And so that's why I wanted to bring it up in this, because it's like, what do you think? Do you think that this is, guys your age are tuning into this? I mean, it'll have probably 2 to 3 million views by the end of the week, this one video, right? Is it more interesting than what's going on right now in the PGA Tour? Certainly for the Sony Open.
Sure. I also like watching the Sony Open because I wish I was there, right, for 2 weeks playing golf and dicking around in Hawaii. Here's how I feel. And you mentioned guys my age, and I know what you mean. I'm going to tell you how I am. See, guys my age, I'm not an old, stodgy, old head that thinks that young guys can't compete with old guys and vice versa, and that the Gen Z, although sometimes I wonder where their head is, but these young guys, that they're sometimes I think they're great and talented, but sometimes their common sense needs a kick in the balls. But that's another thing. But I lean, honestly, I don't like boring. I like boring out of quarterbacks to just give me a 5-yard gain on 1st and 10 and give me 5 yards. That's good, and we'll get the spectacular later. But boring wins on the PGA Tour if you hit it in the middle of the fairway, because that's boring, like the Schefflers. But for me, I want good, fun, exciting golf that challenges every week, and that I would rather, if you're asking me if I'd rather watch that and see that than probably the Sony, even though I'm an OCD about watching the tour all 4 days. Absolutely. I got a YouTube mentality for a guy who watched the Amana hats and the old stiff collars on the golfer. Yes. But I think more the other way when it comes to like golf and the excitement and what can we do to quit being that you can't come on our grounds because this is a country club. I'm the guy that wants to break through the gates and go play like a par 3 15 times on their course that I'll never be able to play because I'm not a member. That being said, this series, it's intriguing, and I'm going to go watch it. I can tell you this. Every PGA Tour member is beating me and you with a 7-iron all the way through. No shot. They'll hit a 7-iron. Hell, they're going to hit a 7-iron if they really unload on it. They're not going to miss many fairways. If they miss a green, they know how to de-loft or loft their club to use a 7-iron around the green. Even if it's Grant Horvat, any PGA Tour member is beating his 7-iron and our 14 clubs in the bag. We're not beating them. I fluctuate anywhere from 80 to 82. I may shoot 79. I may shoot 90. I'm sure you're similar in the same way from that 10. We've talked about this. They're beating us with a 7-iron. Maybe even just a putter. The way that some of these guys can hit a putter, they may beat you with a putter too. Just keep,
the first one in the series that they did was Bobby started at the furthest part of the green from the hole, and Grant played from the tee box.
Well, there's no way. Scheffler, if you're saying I'm on a green side rough,
yeah, you start
par
on the
5, par 3, par 4, and he's playing from the back tees. There is no way on God's green earth for 18 holes I'm losing to Grant Horvat, and hopefully he'll see this, that if he's teeing off and I got my ball is a few feet off the green and I can use my wedge, or I can flip a wedge.
It's on the green, the furthest part from the hole.
I'm putting and he's at the tee box.
Yep.
At any event, matter of fact, I'll give him 10 strokes and still beat him. Ain't no way he's beating me. No,
go watch that video.
Anytime you want. Video. I'm telling you, Scheffler's not beating me from a 580-yard par 5 at the tee box, and I am sitting on the green.
What if he started from the ladies' tees?
Well, let's see. He can probably drive the green, and most of them are get close. Not literally. Well, you know what? I still don't. You Horvat or Scheffler?
Either. Yeah.
They're not. Well, not either, because one's the greatest player in the world. The other one's big difference. Listen. Okay, so even on a par 5, he makes eagle all the time. He may get you on a par 5, especially if it's the undulation and you 4-putt, which is half. But if I 3-putt every green, if I just 3-putt every green, 3-putt.
Yep.
What's your score after 18 holes?
For me, oh man.
What's 18 times 3?
Look,
do the math. 18 times 3 is what?
The reason
What's 18 times 3?
Yeah, it's
in the 50s. Feel like 54? Is that what it is? 18 times 3 is 54, correct?
3-putt if we're talking rolling 12 PGA greens furthest from the hole, I don't think you're averaging a 3-putt. I think we're averaging more.
Yeah, but there's some I'm going to sink one of those.
No. You're talking minimum 60-foot putts, all of
50,
them.
but 54 putts. You're telling me you're not going to get close or roll one, lip one out, and make a 2? Nah, man. I'm quitting golf if I can't beat Grant Horvat from the putting green.
There's a bigger reason I wanted to bring this up. I want us to talk briefly about what you said about being boring and how that's still, Scotty Scheffler is a guy that's boring.
No, I said good golf is boring golf for the player because if he hits it in the fairway, we consider that.
But I don't think it has to be. I'll give you an example. 90% of Kobe Bryant's life was boring, getting up at 4 a.m., shooting all the shots, beating everybody at the gym, all that stuff. But for 40 minutes a night, he was the most electric player on the court. Excuse me. I don't think golf has to be boring. This is why we love the Jordan Spieths of the world, because even though for a time,
but the constant chatter wears me out. He talks too much.
No, I think you can have both.
And I love him too much.
You can be as diabolically good as Scotty Scheffler, but bring a little spice to the game. Come on.
See, you misunderstood though. You think I'm saying that the boring personalities sell on the tour. No, we're begging for somebody that's got Jordan's. I love Spieth's personality. I think at times when it's not going good, he can be, and I confess it's the caddy's fault when he snap hooks an iron and hits it, getting the right thing, looks at the caddy. You're the one with the golf club in your hand. He just suggested you're the one who has to grab the club and hit it. I'm a big Spieth fan, but let's face facts. At no point in time is it the coach's responsibility when I drop back to pass, I throw a pick, blame the coach. No, fuck that. I'm the one with the ball in my hand. I may not like the play, then check it down and get the second down. I was just saying that the best golfers in the world, just like the best quarterbacks, Scotty Scheffler doesn't hit 80 million spectacular shots around. He'll hit a bunch of them. Scotty Scheffler hits it in the fairway, here we go, and broadcasters joke, here we go. You'll hear Cole, how boring this must be. Hit it 310 and it lands in the middle of the fairway. Then hit your iron to 4 feet. It's kind of just the term of boring. We want engaging personality and somebody to mean mug you and stare you down and talk. Of course. So I'm just saying the best players in the world do the boring things well. Drew Brees throws a 5-yard chuck down. Scotty Scheffler doesn't miss the green with a sand wedge from a $125 or a gap wedge from 135. That's what I'm saying. The best golfers are boring. Their performance is boring until they got to hit a Phil Mickelson draw off the pine needles at Augusta on a par 5 over the water, or until you're Scotty Scheffler and you got to hit a 5-iron 230 into the wind to 4 feet and make a putt. That's right. Now back to what we were saying too about, so it's not boring. I know what you're saying. The personalities of like YouTube, Bryson DeChambeau. We all the Bryson DeChambeau we can get. But
let me bring it home for you. Let me bring it home for you. One thing the PGA could look to do, and this is what I'm all about, is how can the PGA be more exciting week in and week out? I brought up the Grant Horvat series to make a point. Imagine if leading up to the tournament, right? The tournament's going to start on Thursday, and that's where grind mode starts. Imagine if the coverage leading up to the tournament, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, if they had their players out there playing guys that are in the YouTube golf space that are maybe more mediocre, or even the Grant Horvats of the world who are still at a different level than who should be playing on the PGA, we would agree. Imagine if they filmed and televised a series like I just mentioned, where it's Scotty Scheffler or Rory McIlroy against a Garrett from Good or a Bob from Bob Does Sports, in a similar context of, Bob starts from the green, Garrett starts from the fairways, and Scotty Scheffler starts from the slam back tees, and they play 9 holes and it's live televised. That would be electric. Why? Who is running the ship there? Because
you can't do that. Nobody wants to see that 20, 30 weeks a year on the tour. I don't.
I'm not saying 30 weeks, but I'm saying mix it up. I'm saying take the concepts that are winning in YouTube golf like that, like the Internet Invitational, and some of these fun formats.
Mix them in on a week off. I agree, 100%. Give people the option.
What are you talking about? You got the Pro-Am, the single Pro-Am up in Tahoe every year. Other than that, there's nothing exciting from Monday to Wednesday going on in the PGA Tour. And they could make this a weekly thing where they do it.
Pro-Am. It'd be a blast. And I'm sure a bunch
And it would bring more eyeballs to the Thursday through Sunday.
As long as you didn't, these guys have their certain routines and they play 9 holes of practice and then they go get leading up to the Pro-Am. And I think it's a great idea, but we don't want to see that every week because eventually it'd be like, okay, or you don't want to see those compete against each other every week because those guys aren't going to make the cut very often. They're just not. They're great players. And if you've ever played next to these guys who are +5s that can't get on tour, you're thinking, how are they not on tour? My point about this is we do get that, and you're onto something. We got it with the nighttime golf when the guys are out there hitting left-handed on a green, that they're starting at the top. A guy drives, he hit it. The next shot sprints to the middle of the fairway. He hits the second shot. They're playing against time. So we did get that, and we can get more of that.
In the offseason when no one's watching.
Well, then I thought you said, didn't you just tell me people will watch if you do that?
That's what I'm hoping. I mean, look at the
I'm not watching that at Augusta National before the par 3 tournament. No, nobody, because there's a different field.
The par 3 tournament's a great example.
Phoenix Open would be perfect to do it. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Agreed.
I'm not 100%. Saying all 3 days. I'm saying pick a day, one day out of the week to help promote the weekend and what to watch. And
that would be Tuesday, and then they play their pro.
Then you give them Wednesday to lock back in, do whatever they got to do, and then you're doing the tournament.
I am with you 100%. But we have started to get to that, which I love, and I like your idea. Let me get back to this. Now, if you said, Sean, you're 100 yards in and you're playing Scheffler, he's going to beat you by 15 strokes. Anyway, he's at the tee box and we got a wedge in our hand, no shot. Now if he shoots 59, he should beat us. But I want you to think about it. If you 4-putt 18 greens, you're shooting par. 4-putt. You're going to beat a lot of guys on tour that the tee to green, the course may be brutal, especially if it was like a U.S. Open setup. He snap hooks one drive, takes double bogey. I can 7-putt. Okay, so I'm just telling you that I'll take that challenge and I'll put some of my own money.
If you have any contacts in the PGA that can get your ass to one of these tournaments, or
I'll get my damn self there.
Get to a course a week before the tournament so that the greens are rolling how they're going to roll at the tournament. And you get a
meter at 12 or 13. I'm good. Okay. I'm good. Okay. I'd rather have it that way than a slow green that I'm not good at reading. I'm not saying I'm but I'm trying to sit there and think, okay, Sean, if you 4-putt every green. Now, if you 4-putt every green, the majority are going to beat you because they're going to shoot on a bad day, shoot 70. You're right. I don't plan on 4-putting because not every green is the size of some big green at the British Open. Some of them are postage stamp size. Some of them, how many times do you go on a green and say, this green is so huge, I could 6-putt from here. I ain't going to 6-putt. Now, I might snap hook or chili dip a 100-yard wedge and then skull the next one and then 4-putt. Yeah, I got no shot there. But if you stick me on the green and they're playing back tees at tournament, somebody may beat you. But if that's how I got the money list and was able to bet, there's no way, if you have any game at all, that the majority of the guys on the PGA Tour are beating you when you're standing on the green. They're going to have to make it up during the par 3. Par 5s, they can make it up too if they can hit it as far as guys like, DeChambeau can. But I like my chances to shoot high 50s, low 60s putting. And that's if you 3-putt every green. Some you may 4-putt, some you may 2-putt. So if you average it out to 3, dude, we've never had anybody shoot 54. So I like my chances. And if you were smart and we had a bet, you'd bet on me to win from the green while everybody else is at the tee box. Nah, I'm taking my money.
If there's anybody, let's just take it to a vote, okay? If there's anybody listening to this right here, right now, I want you to comment down below. Would a 12? Is it fair to say
we're 10 to 12? Yeah,
10 to 12 handicap on 12 greens, meaning PGA level speed greens. If you're starting from the furthest point from the hole, would we win against a pro who's going to go out and shoot mid to low 60s?
Well, no. No. They don't shoot mid to low 60s on a regular basis. That wins tournaments. The guys who haven't won tournaments shoot 68, 72.
I'm talking about 69. The top 5 guys on tour.
Okay.
I think all 5 are beating us if we're starting from the furthest part of every green.
If they have a great day and you have the shittiest day of your life. See, wind, unless it's howling, we don't have to worry about that. It may wind a little bit when you're on the green and affect the ball. But for the most part, it's just dealing with the speed of a green. And if you're there a week early and get to see them, like you said, Let's go. But you'll get beat. I'll get beat. But think about the averages, brother. So, okay, let's say I take on, pick me the 20. Let's say I take on Akshay Bhatia. Fair enough? How's that?
Okay.
Good, really good player. He's back at the tee. He's long, good iron player. And you have to put 50 grand down on one of us. And we're playing at the Waste Management, but not in front of that crowd. It's just him and I playing. I'm on the green furthest on all the greens, 18 of them. You think he's beating me? I'll bet you 25 grand right now he's not. And I'll bet you cash to
I would
cash.
take that bet. I would take that bet. And I would deserve odds, by the way. But
whoa. Now we're not talking. This isn't. No. You don't get odds. You're the one who told me that they're beating us, the top 5 guys. Okay, now I'm not a top 5 guy. I'm in the 25th best player in the world or whatever Bhatia is ranked right now. You would be willing to bet 25 or 50 grand on him at a venue that's got some small. I've played it, small greens, big, whatever. You actually think that he's going to shoot 60 and I'm going to 4-putt every green?
Look, I might not be.
You're on
you might have
crack,
one
dude.
thing
You're losing
on,
your money.
No. You're going to have one thing on me that I just don't have, which is that you've played in high pressure situations in your life. I've never done that. So maybe, but I would also take into account if we're talking about a normal 10 to 12 handicap guy playing for 25 grand and he's starting at the furthest part, that there's going to be a nerve element that a guy, that the PGA Tour player starting from the tips does not have. So yeah, I'm actually I'm taking the PGA Tour player playing from the tips.
Man, I was 7-iron playing this from a 7-iron, and me with a 7-iron, and I get to use all my bag. He's beating me. A putter, and that's all they get. I've seen Tiger Woods hit a putter in these demonstrations. I ain't messing with that either. You said earlier before the show left-handed. I watched these cats hit left-handed at that nighttime event. I'm beating a PGA Tour player from North. I'm at my normal tee. They're at their split back tee. They got to play left-handed the whole round. I like my chances because I don't think any of them are breaking 70 or 80 for that matter. With the left-handed and playing, stick a left-handed club and let's go. But I still like my chances in yours. If you're putting me on a green, I ain't 4-putting 18 greens.
I also
shooting 54.
I also just want to end this by illustrating my point that we spoke for far longer about this topic than we did about whatever the hell's going on.
Validates what you're saying. Yes.
Very interesting stuff and fun to talk about and speculate. And if there was one day a week the PGA would dedicate to doing shit like this, it would only just elevate it and make it
why don't we put our Unpaved brand together, my apparel and yours that you already got out, and let's just be a sponsor of a tournament and do it ourselves. Why wait on them? We can do it ourselves. Put it together. Let's get this thing going. Winner take all. I'm in. And I'm willing to put my own money up, standing at the furthest part of a green, playing against a PGA Tour member, and I get to putt, and he's got to beat me.
Friends that can make this happen. I mean, you're in Houston. There's a lot of play. Dallas is a hub for pro golfers.
Yeah. Yep.
We should make this happen. And
back to real golf.
And I will have your back. I will pretend to root for
you better have my damn back.
Deep down, I will not believe you could win it.
Okay, well, findable these nuts then, okay? Because I'll tell you right now that they're not, well, I can tell you this, odds tell me I got a better chance to shoot 54 than any PGA Tour member from the back tees and me on the green than they do, okay? So I'm just going with me, and I'm going with the majority of 10 or 12 or 14 handicaps that just won't choke on their own spit and piss down their leg because, Scheffler's at the tee box. Yeah, if we're playing golf but me on the tee box, listen, I don't care if I make the first one. And what happens if you birdie 3 in a row and they par 3 in a row? I'm already out in front and they're chasing me. So I like my chances. All right, let's end with this. We're not going to preview the whole thing. Who's going to be the rookie here? Is it Michael Brennan? Is it Luke Clanton? All that. As it goes along, we'll get a feel. Don't want to bore anybody with that. We all like predictions and that. But I'm just curious in my mind, how can Scotty Scheffler get better? And I know everybody says, of course you can get better. You can win 6 instead of 5, 7 instead of 6, 3 majors instead of 2. But in truth, when you're the leading scorer on 4 rounds, the first, second, third, fourth on PGA Tour, you're better than everybody, averaging like 68 right in there on all 4 rounds. I'm curious how in the world, how does a guy that keeps winning, And I know the legacy of chasing the Tiger Woods and the Jack Nicklauses and being considered a Mount Rushmore face of golfers. But how do you keep doing this, and how does he get better? How much closer can the guy hit an iron? The guy's winning and he changes his putting stroke and still gets better. So can we get to the point where this dude wins 8 or 9 tournaments in a season? Can he win 3 majors? I guess he can. But if Scottie Scheffler wins 3 times this year and he doesn't win a major, what's he, 4 years in a row, the PGA Tour Player of the Year? Are you taking the field or Scottie when it comes to the MVP, the Tour Player of the Year? But how does he get better? I guess make more. I'm not talking about score, just what we're saying. Here we go again. How does this guy continue to get better? When does it level out at all?
All it is at this point, you've dominated for 3 years, right? Rory snuck a Masters in there, but other than that, the talk for the last 3 years has been Scottie. At this point in the game, all it is Scottie versus can he ever do what Tiger does? And the reality is, no, nobody in our lifetime, certainly mine, will ever, well, certainly yours, and I believe mine, will ever come close
you, dude. I'm gonna outlive
to the
you.
Tiger stats. Maybe,
talking shit. Yeah.
Maybe I am a Grunkdolfer after all, but nobody. If you ever, I know we don't have this teed up, but you could look up Scottie Scheffler's stats, current career to date versus Tiger's run of 2 or 3 years from like 99 to 02, and it's an insane gap to cover. So to me,
but he deals with distractions well, dude. He doesn't have all the outside influences that Tiger did. He just doesn't. Sure. So but maybe
more of a reason to, if you could pull up those stats, which I don't think we have them teed up, there's no world where he comes close to matching Tiger's greatness. Maybe some of the older guys, but at this point in time, with Tiger still kind of the face of the sport, everybody is going to compare whoever the best player is to Tiger Woods. And if you look at the numbers, as great as this run is for Scheffler, even if it carries on another 2 years, it still doesn't even meet half of where Woods was at from 99 to 04, 05, 06.
Yeah, that run that he went through. And as Tiger stays healthy, we're still looking at 5, 6, 7 more major wins, more than likely. The whole key for Scheffler is, how important will this be 10 years from now? Golf, 5 years from now. That if he can, how important will the grind be as he continues, has more kids, raises his child starts to play junior golf, and the wife and him. And I think it'll be important, but everybody loses a little bit. They can say, okay, man. And then how important will it be? I mean, the grind that he's on, the constant practice and the focus and not getting, caught up in all the distractions. Can he stay healthy the way he does it? Unlike Woods, who phenomenal. You're right. It's not going to be Tiger Woods, but he goes and wins 2 more majors this year and does that 3 or 4 more years, dude. They're stacking now. And so it's not out of the question that when we start to mention great golfers, with the way he's played, if this trend continues, Nicklaus, Woods, we can go all the way back to Snead and Byron Nelson, guys who won that are great players, Arnold Palmer over the course, Gary Player, all that. But with Tom Watson. But man, put it this way, 4 more years like the last 4 more years, the conversation heats up, especially if he's fully healthy. But it's Woods, and this is like when LeBron was 3 years into the league or 4 years and won an MVP, or 5 years, and say, wow, man, he's the next Jordan. Slow down and slow your roll. And back to Kobe Bryant that you mentioned, Kobe Bryant did all the boring things well as the spectacular. So he made free throws and didn't miss layups, and neither does Scottie Scheffler. Does he over under 6 victories for him this year?
That's a
lot of
6.
Golf, man. Taking the under.
I just can't ever bet on anybody winning 6 times on tour.
Agreed.
That's what it comes to.
So you're taking the under on that. Who's the biggest threat to him in your mind, not the public's mind, your mind, to steal the Player of the Year award from him? I know the obvious choice, but will he be hungry again this year because he wants to chase down Scottie and McIlroy? Is there a name that even if they don't, it's going to be close? Who's going to make it interesting this year like McIlroy did last year?
I actually think, and this might be out of left field, but I think of Victor Hovland is someone who I think is going to probably make a run and be in contention.
If he can stay out of his head,
every single weekend. Right. I mean, he's always right there. And then the other guy that finally got the monkey off of his back is Tommy Fleetwood. I mean, that's a guy who's in the top 10, but that could never break it. He finally broke it with the biggest prize of the year in the FedEx. And so I think that's going to be a big monkey off his back, weight off his shoulders. And I think that allows him now to compete week in and week out at the top.
Yeah, I can't imagine that Tommy Fleetwood, he's long enough. He's a really good iron player. Now his confidence is through the roof after the Ryder Cup, and now he's making putts that he needs to make. I almost think the loss to Keegan Bradley and the way he was struggling to close it out and then finally getting his win has springboarded him into a whole new level, and he's just such a good guy and easy to root for. I'm keeping a close eye on two guys, Cam Young and Ludwig Oberg. I don't know if Cam Young's going to win 5 of them, but I can tell you this, or 4 of them are challenged. But Cam Young's a monster. Now, if we include these guys who can come in and like Rahm and Bryson win 2 majors if they play in, but they're not going to be PGA Tour Player of the Year with 2 major wins unless nobody else wins. But I don't even know if you can qualify for a PGA Tour Player of the Year by playing on the Live Tour, even though you're playing in the majors. I don't even know what that protocol is. But Ludwig Oberg's got the swing and the demeanor. The question is, does he have the nerves on the green? And Tommy Fleetwood would have been my first or second choice. And I'm a big Cam Young fan. I think Cam Young needed what Tommy Fleetwood had when he finally won, because Young is long, he's got attitude, he's not afraid of shit, and now he knows he belongs. Even though he may have known, he proved it to himself. Doesn't worry about what we say. So those are a few names. Then the guys. I'm expecting Schauffele to play better. I am. I like your choice of your guy to come in and make a difference. But for me, he's just got to make sure that he constantly tinkering, but he can play, and you're exactly right. And then, there's going to be somebody else we're not talking about that all of a sudden, does a Jake Knapp win 2 tournaments because he can go low? Guys like that, but 6 tournaments, I would take the under. But if Scheffler does win 6 or 7 times, you should not be surprised, because I think the hunger exists more. I think the hunger exists more for him when he's winning than it does when he's losing. I do. I just think that he thrives on that shit.
I agree. And again, he is a bit robotic, both in his game and in his life, to just know that the moment's never too big for him, and he's not going to put his foot off the gas just because he won a few times. He's not some guy who's motivated by that. I really think he's chasing the greatness. It's why he didn't ever have an inkling that he was going to live or anything. The legacy portion matters to Scotty, I think. And I think that's what he's chasing now. And when when you still have something to chase, that's the biggest thing, right? I mean, that's what happened to like a Tiger. It's like, what else was he chasing other than maybe the major number? But I don't think that was a real motivating factor. There's a couple guys that I want, that I've been waiting. And I think JT won the comeback player of the year last year. And that was fun.
I'm going to get a late start on the tour this year because the injury. Yep.
Right.
I think March is his start time.
I mean, are we, I just want to, and maybe we'll end with this because it wasn't something we were going to talk about, but man, every year I'm waiting for Ricky Fowler to finally break out. He almost had, he was in contention a little bit more over the last 48 months, but he just never gets over the, is it just the guy's got so much money and a hot wife and beautiful kids that it's just, it's kind of like the Dustin Johnson thing, or do we see him ever making a run again?
No, I think he's going to make a run. He's still plenty young. He's long enough. He is, to me, see, Ricky Fowler's kind of the poster child for what you're talking about. Is he's still got plenty of flair, his outfits, and he's still got plenty of game. See, I think a lot of times we look at Ricky Fowler because the Puma wear, and he's colorful, and we remember when he was winning and always in contention, that we think, oh yeah, talented, but it's passed him by. He's too much into the optics. I disagree. I think that we've heaped that on him. He struggled, but I start to see strides of him getting a putter back and playing better golf. I don't think he's beyond it at all. This isn't a 45-year-old that is hanging on. This is a guy who simply needs to get back, win a big one, and watch it flow. I think that's where he is. I don't think the want to, even though he has the sunglasses and a little bit casual and he's fun and a good guy. He's what you like. He's got still a new age attitude. He's got some flair. If there's a short side, he's going to attack the green. Got 2 feet on the right. He's going to hit it on the short side to try and make a putt. That's who he is. I think for him, if he plays a little more robotic at times when necessary, not act robotic, but plays it, I think Ricky Fowler will win again. That's why Tommy Fleetwood win. There's nothing flashy about Fleetwood. Fleetwood hits it in the fairway, hits it on the green, and when he makes putts, he wins. And he's able to overcome getting kicked in the balls. And I think this will actually be a moving year for Ricky Fowler. And of all the guys on tour, he's one of those 10 guys I root for. I think when Ricky Fowler's in it, and I actually think it makes for a little more flair for the weekend. I do. I think Fowler will win this year. And I think that Ricky Fowler's game's still got plenty left in it. To me, it's not a matter of want to, it's a matter of needs to. Win one and watch it flow. I think Fowler's got that in his game because he can still hit it a long way, and he's plenty good with his irons when he's going. I think he's just got to be, when they say that 2 foot, 3 foot boring circle, you don't have to make them all because you're not going to. And when Ricky gets back to that, Ricky Fowler will win again. I do believe he's standing on the winners on the pulpit, accepting all the congratulations for being a winner on tour this year. I don't know about a major, but I know he's going to win a tournament. I'd love to see him win something like the Waste Management. I don't know if he's playing.
Oh, that'd be great.
That would be awesome. That's
the
built
majors
for him.
Yeah, the major. I mean, when you talk about expectation versus where the career ended up, he's probably at the top of the list of a guy who we thought he was going to win 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, and it just never happened. But the over/under of 0.5 on Ricky Fowler getting a win this year.
I'm taking the over.
You're taking the over
on 0.5. I think he wins an event, and I'm looking for a great, kind of like you mentioned, JT. We saw the ups and downs of Xander. I expect Xander Schauffele to get back in the winner's circle more than once this year as well. Nick, great stuff, man. Great banter, great stuff. I'm into. Now you got me wanting to go work on my putting game in the backyard so I don't lose 25 grand spotting them 500 yards a hole on the par 5. My man, that's Dick Bender. He is the founder and CEO of Grunkdolfer, at Grunkdolfer on Twitter as well as IG. You get him on Facebook. Got some new drops that came out here in the new year that are awesome. Great clothing, and he loves it. He's a great follow and has great stuff. And we'll be back here next Monday at 4 o'clock Central Time. Much to talk about. We'll obviously review over what went on at the Sony Open, and I'm sure we'll talk more YouTube golf and how we can change the golfing world, because that really is our goal through all this, and to continue to find our ball. This is the Findable Podcast. For Nick, I'm Sean. We'll see you guys next Monday.